As usual, Leslie is the talk of the town, or at least Orphe Jeans, where Mona and Jan catch the audience up on the fact that their former pal is rich and determined to move into Fairmont Crest. Speaking of which, Leslie tells her daughter that it's moving day. No, her new mansion isn't ready yet, but she wants to basically do a set swap. Leslie will move into Eva's hotel room, while Eva can move into their old apartment building, which Leslie bought for her. Again, how is she doing so much with that $1 million, which is the only payment she's received? Leslie changes the topic to Eva's feelings for Tomas. Her advice to Eva? Show Tomas that she's a better option than Kat. Sending Eva off to work, Leslie says she's planning to meet someone in the hotel room. One guess as to whom she's expecting. But if you guessed Ted, you'd be wrong. It's actually Peaches, the woman who was like a mom to her. And yet again, Leslie is spreading around money, giving a big fat check to the older woman so she can get the treatment she needs. Oh, and Peaches can move into one of the apartments in Eva's new building. As Jacob and Derek work out at the latter's apartment, the cop realizes that Shanice is also aware that the fireman's getting feeling back in his legs. Both Jacob and Shanice are clearly struggling with the guilt of keeping quiet. In fact, Jacob makes it clear he's not going to keep this under wraps much longer, especially since Derek also wants him not to tell Naomi. Derek gets ticked, but Jacob won't budge it. He accuses Derek of testing Ashley or doubting their relationship, and warns he should not go into marriage with a secret like this. Derek promises if he makes major progress, he'll tell Ashley. Andre arrives at the hospital as Ashley is telling Shanice the news about Doug. He wants to break the news about having married Dani, but Ashley already knows. He tries explaining it's not what it looks like, but then notices the engagement ring on Ashley's finger. He calls Derek her comfort zone and makes it clear he thinks they were meant to be together. But she refuses to take what he's saying seriously, insisting she loves Derek. Marcel swings by the casino to tell Joey that he's Caribbean-bound, but Joey puts the kibosh on that idea, saying he needs the crooked cop to stick around. Otherwise, it'll look suspicious to have Marcel flee immediately after Doug's death. Meanwhile, Vanessa meets with Nicole at Uptown to share news of Doug's death. Joey offers to drive Vanessa to see her son, but she demurs, saying Nicole has agreed to take her. As the illicit lovers hug, Nicole enters and sees their embrace. Hey babes, welcome back to Gossip Delight. It's your girl Daisy, and trust me, today's tea is scorching, steamy, and absolutely unmissable. Buckle up, because we're diving straight into the drama. Alas, poor Doug, we knew you well. In fact, we knew the Beyond the Gate surgeon so well that we were not at all surprised when he died on the show's Thursday, September 25th episode. Let's face it, the man's been living on borrowed time pretty much since the show began. Doug's gambling was just about out of control from day one. His debts were staggering, and his marriage with Vanessa was rocky at best. In fact, just as he was taken out, she was off in Puerto Rico, whipping her wedding ring off and hooking up with casino owner and mobster Joey. You know, the man who declared Doug a dead man walking. And before taking this gambling addict out, Joey was all too happy to innocently let his voice be heard while Vanessa was on the phone with her husband. So Doug knew exactly what was going down in Puerto Rico. That just sent the doc right over the edge, downing more drinks as he gambled away. He finally did win a big pile of cash at blackjack, but we've a feeling they were just reeling him in. Because once he got that money, his vision blurred. Crooked cop Marcel swiped it and told him he wouldn't need it where he was going. The next thing we knew, Jacob was calling Vanessa in Puerto Rico to tell her that her husband had died in a car accident. And that, we thought, might be a good thing. What if Doug, knowing he was in deep trouble, faked his death to set up Joey? What if Jacob was in on it to try to flush the mobster and his crooked partner out? What if... But no, none of that looks to be true. Instead, Marcel really did get to him. At the end of the episode, he called Joey to let him know that, as far as the rest of the world was concerned, Doug's death was an accident. It doesn't get much clearer than that. It looks like Vanessa really is a widow, and Joey gets to do all the comforting he wants. There could be more going on here than we realize, but as far as we can tell, Doug is indeed dead. Vanessa's trio to Orgasm Town, Puerto Rico with Joey takes a dark turn when she returns, calls from Jacob, and learns that Doug was killed in a car accident. Vanessa crumbles, worried about how the twins will react to this devastating news. Weeping that she was in bed with another man when her husband died, Vanessa has a moment of clarity and asks if Joey had anything to do with the accident. While working on the accident report, Jacob questions why Doug was speeding down the road drunk when he could have called a rideshare. "Drunk makes you stupid," shrugs Marcel later. As Jacob leaves to investigate a crime, Marcel calls Joey to say everything went smoothly. "As far as the world is concerned," he says, "Doug's death was an accident." Still hungover, Dani and Andre discuss getting a divorce. She wants to make sure her family isn't rocked by this latest scandal, even as Nicole is sharing with Vernon and his wife a pic the Anita impersonator posted on social media. Nicole calls Andre and asks him to meet her at Vernon and Anita's place. There, he's put on blast by the family, all of whom say they are disappointed. They expect Dani to do dumb stuff, but not Andre. He tries taking the credit and blame for what went down, and then defends Dani. Nicole, however, says Dani's not the only one who's had her life blown up. "The rest of us would like a break from the endless drama," bit out the shrink. Bill mansplains to Haley that women have a tougher time moving on than women, which is why Dani isn't likely to get involved with anyone soon. About 3 seconds later, she shows him the post about Dani and Andre's wedding. Haley is obviously delighted, but Bill is livid. "How could Dani do this to their daughters?" he fumes. Haley, however, fears Bill is more upset about Dani having moved on. Bill insists he can't spend all his time reassuring his current wife every time the former title holder acts out. And yet, 2 minutes later, Bill is at Dani's place demanding answers. Hypocritically, he calls her out for having married a younger man. "My days of explaining myself to you are over," says Dani. "Your child bride has to deal with your mess, I don't. So why don't you go home to her? I'm sure she's waiting for someone to slice bananas into her frosted flakes." They hurl accusations at one another, with him insisting she get her marriage annulled. And although Andre just assured the family that's the plan, Dani's reaction to Bill's demand is to suggest she and Andre remain hitched a little longer. Beyond the Gates, spoilers for Friday, September 26th, suggest that Joey Armstrong will do what he does best, issue a dire threat, while Nicole Richardson will comfort a distraught Vanessa McBride. During the Thursday, September 25th episode, Vanessa's world was flipped upside down when she learned that her husband, Doug McBride, had died in a car crash while under the influence of alcohol. Of course, BTG fans know that Joey had Detective Marcel Malone organize the entire incident that was far from an accident. Vanessa and Joey were in Puerto Rico on a romantic getaway when she got a call from Jacob Hawthorne. The woman immediately started to spiral upon hearing the news of Doug's demise. The couple quickly decided to head back to Fairmont Crest during the September 25th show, so by today's episode, they should be back home. Nicole is Vanessa's best friend and a therapist, so the good news is she'll be able to help support her friend during this dark time. Across town, it sounds like now that Leslie Thomas has inherited a whack of cash, she'll spoil her daughter Eva Thomas with an expensive gift on Friday's show. With that said, what exactly will Leslie buy Eva? Could it be a luxury car? A sweet condo so she can move out of the hotel? Only time will tell in other. Beyond the Gates, spoilers for Friday, September 26th, Shanice Johnson will be seen as she keeps something massive covered. It looks like she'll continue to keep Derek Baldwin's secret regarding his progress. Derek is not only able to feel his legs, but was also able to somewhat stand this week when he was desperate to retrieve Ashley Morgan's ring after it fell on the ground. Shanice is bound by HIPAA and not allowed to share Derek's medical information with anyone. But will she purposely do something outside her role as his physiotherapist that crosses a line? Finally, let's talk about Joey's dire threat. Who will he issue this warning to? It would seem odd for him to threaten Marcel, after all. The sketchy cop helped him get rid of Doug. With that said, could Bill Hamilton question Joey on Doug's passing? Beyond the Gates spoilers remind fans that Joey is as dangerous as they come, so calling the casino owner out would be a stupid move on Bill's part. And Bill's not a stupid man, so it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out. Exactly 7 months after its February premiere, Beyond the Gates has seen its first major character death. Doug McBride is no more, which means Jason Graham's time on the CBS daytime drama has come to a close. Doug was introduced as a once brilliant cardiac surgeon, respected in the operating room, but deeply flawed outside of it. His addiction to gambling was no secret. It strained his marriage to Vanessa and clouded his judgment at work. He might have had a gift for saving lives, but he couldn't save himself. At home, Doug grew more and more distant. He spent his nights chasing losses at Joey Armstrong's gambling den instead of being present with his wife. Though he eventually realized just how deep he was in, by then, it was already too late. Doug racked up a massive debt to Joey, one he had no real way of repaying. However, Joey cleared the debt, and then fronted Doug even more money. That second chance quickly turned into a deeper spiral. Doug tried to balance high-stakes surgery with his high-stakes addiction, and it didn't go well. Fast forward. As for his marriage, it was barely hanging on. After one final fiery argument with Vanessa, Doug stormed off to the blackjack table, once again choosing cards over his crumbling relationship. Meanwhile, Vanessa had enough. She packed her bags, left town, and ran straight into the arms of Joey Armstrong. She slipped off her wedding ring and into Joey's bed. Doug, for once, won big. But the victory was short-lived. He placed one final call to Vanessa, and you could just tell what was coming. Only moments later, Doug had been drugged and died in a fiery crash. And while he was dying alone, his wife was off enjoying a romantic getaway with the man who helped destroy him. With Doug's death, actor Jason Graham wraps his run on Beyond the Gates. The New York-born actor is known for his work in Average Joe, Kingdom Business, 911, Creepshow, and more. Lauren Buglioli, who plays his on-screen wife, Vanessa, shared a behind-the-scenes clip of Graham's goodbye with the cast and crew. See below. So, what do you think? Are you shocked by Doug's death? Will you miss Jason Graham on the show? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Leslie has a gift for Eva. But does it come with a motive? The Beyond the Gates, spoilers for Friday, September 26, 2025, reveal that Leslie will try to sweeten up Eva. She surprises her with a gift. But is there a motive behind it? Leslie shocks Eva with a gift. Will she accept her mother's kind gesture, or will she question it? There could be an ulterior motive behind Leslie's gesture. We're never quite sure if Leslie is being genuine with her feelings. Sadly, she's manipulated her daughter for years, and Eva knows that. Nicole will get an update that causes her to console a friend in need. Who could it be that needs help this time? As we already know, shocking revelations are about to come out in Fairmont Crest. Speaking of friends, Jan and Mona will discuss their former friend's sudden windfall. Is this the same person, or could it be someone else? More than one person will suffer a major blow this week. Joey issues some grave warnings. Sounds like someone is about to end up in trouble. But who could it be? Does this have something to do with Doug, with whom he's been dueling? Meanwhile, Shanice continues to conceal some major information. Does this have something to do with Derek, who is keeping a big secret from Ashley? He's been lying to her about his recovery. What will happen once she discovers the truth? Will their wedding plans get called off? Give her the material to serve, and serve she will. That's exactly what Lauren Buglioli did this week on Beyond the Gates, and the result was unforgettable. In a story packed with temptation, betrayal, and devastating loss, Buglioli went there. Emotionally, mentally, you name it. She delivered a performance that earns her the title of Soap Opera News' Performer of the Week for September 22 to 26. This week, Vanessa's world unraveled in the most dramatic way possible. She was already stuck in an emotional tug-of-war, torn between loyalty to her troubled husband Doug and the dangerous pull of the ever-persistent Joey Armstrong. While Doug continued to spiral due to his gambling addiction, Vanessa was drawn deeper into Joey's world of escape and seduction. After a heated argument with Doug, Joey extended an invitation to whisk Vanessa away to Puerto Rico for a romantic getaway. And of course, she took him up on the offer. But what she thought would be a chance to clear her head turned into something far more complicated. Once they arrived, Joey made his move, begging Vanessa to take off her wedding ring and fully give herself to him. She hesitated at first. The guilt, the inner conflict, it was all there. But ultimately, she gave in. Meanwhile, back in Fairmont Crest, Doug was at his lowest, gambling recklessly, drunk, and unaware that he had been drugged. While Vanessa was in bed with her sideman, her husband was slipping further into danger. And then came the moment that changed everything. Just after an unforgettable passion round with Joey, Vanessa checked her phone. She found there were multiple missed calls from Jacob Hawthorne. She immediately called him back, assuming it had something to do with the twins. But what he said next shattered her world. Doug was dead, killed in a fiery car crash. And this is where Lauren Buglioli gave a masterclass in raw human emotion. From the second Vanessa heard the news, Buglioli pulled us all in. The shock, the guilt, the overwhelming grief, the tears on her face, the struggle in her voice, the torment in her body language, it all hit like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just a sad moment. It was a full-body collapse of a woman who had just lost her husband, whose final words to him were angry ones. Buglioli didn't miss a damn beat. She sold it. Every single second sold. Her performance was haunting, heartbreaking, and undeniably powerful. The kind of acting that sticks with you long after the credits roll. It was layered, emotional, and Emmy-worthy. Congratulations, Lauren Buglioli! You are Soap Opera News' Performer of the Week, and there's absolutely no question you deserve it. Beyond the Gate spoilers for Friday, September 26th suggest some major bombshells as fans head into the weekend. Eva Thomas is presented with a gift, while Nicole Richardson comforts a friend. Plus, Joey Armstrong issues a dire warning. Beyond the Gate's spoilers for Friday, September 26th indicate Eva will get a nice gift, courtesy of her mom, Leslie Thomas. Now that Leslie has money to burn, it looks like she's ready to spoil her only daughter. But what exactly is this gift? A home? A new car? Cash for a spending spree? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Across town, Nicole will help comfort a friend after the bombshell that hit Fairmont Crest during the Thursday, September 25th show. Doug McBride's passing shocked the gated community, and Vanessa McBride's world has been rocked. Vanessa is sure to feel guilty, as she was with Joey when Doug passed away. So can Nicole help ease Vanessa's troubled mind? Speaking of Joey, Beyond the Gate's spoilers for Friday, note that the casino owner will issue a dire warning to someone. Who could this be? Well, it really could be anyone from Bill Hamilton, to Marcel Malone, to possibly Vanessa. If anyone connects Doug's demise to Joey, he'll likely put them in their place. Finally, Shanice Johnson is keeping some major information under wraps. This has Derek Baldwin written all over it. He's making massive strides in his recovery, but keeping it a secret. He's claiming it's because he doesn't want to get Ashley Morgan's hopes up if it's nothing. But BTG fans can tell that Derek is remaining hush-hush because he loves the attention he's getting from his now-fiancée. What storyline are you most looking forward to during Friday's show? Share your thoughts. Tune into the CBS Soap Daily and check out CTS often for the best Beyond the Gates updates, spoilers, and news. Dani hangover trip with Andre in Vegas may work to her advantage, while a certain bigoted busboy got what was coming to him earlier this year. That was merely a plot development in a story that had more to do with Martin, Vernon, and the Dupris. In the Thursday, September 25th episode of Beyond the Gates, Jacob was forced to deliver the news about a death that hit Vanessa hard, leading to the show's first big death. Meanwhile, Dani may have come up with a new way to get under Bill's skin. As far as we know, Dr. Doug McBride is dead. Apparently, he was in a car accident and a flask was discovered. He was heading down a highway and solo crashed into a tree. The car caught on fire. That flask meant Doug had been drinking. But are there enough remains for the medical examiner or forensic pathologist to determine if there was anything else in his system? Joey and Marcel may have successfully gotten rid of Doug, and there won't be anything that could blow back on them. Sure, Vanessa knows her husband was gambling, probably at Joey's casino, and the audience knows that Marcel may have helped along Doug's drunken spiral. But who will ever find out that they were behind Doug's descent? Nobody, unless Joey or Marcel talks, and that's not likely to happen anytime soon. So here we go. Doug died, and Vanessa is devastated. And we still haven't met Vanessa and Doug's kids. Let's hope that will be changing soon. They're going to want to be there for their mom and to say a proper goodbye to their father, right? Let's hope we get to meet the twins, Donald and Deanna, soon. And what will a mourning Vanessa look like? Will she stick with Joey, or will she need to grieve on her own, or with her friends and family who know her? Joey thinks that it'll be easy street for him and Vanessa from here on out, now that he has her to himself. But is that the way it's going to play out? Meanwhile, Jacob has that look on his face again, the one that says he doesn't want to take things at face value, so he may try to do some digging of his own, and that won't be good for Joey or Marcel. Score! That's what Dani said after Bill walked out of her house, so Dani was ready to annul her marriage to Andre just like that. And then Bill wasted no time laying into her in such a hypocritical way. He yelled at her for marrying someone on a whim who was half her age, as if he didn't burn down his family doing the same thing. Of course, he said he was worried about what this news would do to their daughters, but we know better. But Dani didn't see it as being torn down or criticized. She loved the reaction it got out of Bill, and she saw that as an opportunity. Instead of bringing an end to her quickie marriage to Andre, she wants to prolong it a little bit more. So does that mean Andre and Dani will stay married for the foreseeable future because she wants to make Bill jealous? Will Andre go for that? He seems to catch on to what Dani's true intentions are pretty quickly. And how will Haley react to that? She's already unhappy that Bill hightailed it over to Dani's instead of going to work. What did you think about Dani, Andre, and Bill? How about Anita, Vernon, and Nicole ambushing Andre like that? How will Vanessa and Joey play out now that Doug isn't around? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Here's what went down Thursday, September 25th, 2025, on Beyond the Gates. When Jacob's nose worked overtime, Bill had a fit of the conniption kind, and Marcel confirmed that he had cashed Doug out. On Beyond the Gates, Anita was deep in thought as Vernon described an Entertainment Tonight piece that explored who should play the Articulates should there be a biopic about the group. Vernon finally noticed his wife's distraction and learned she was thinking about making sure someone paid for hurting one of their girls. Nicole entered and assured her mother that Ted had done nothing new to pain her. She wasn't the daughter who needed worrying about. "What has Dani gone and done now?" Anita asked, exasperated. "Lord, have mercy!" Vernon exclaimed, as Nicole showed her parents the photo that the Anita impersonator who had performed Andre and Dani's marriage had posted. The former senator wondered if someone had created a deepfake, but Nicole recognized Dani's outfit, while Anita sniffed that the doppelganger looked nothing like her. "Thinking before she acts out has never been Dani's strong suit," Nicole offered, agreeing with Anita that Dani had once again done something rash in response to Bill, and predicting that Dani would stay stuck in that cycle unless she made a conscious effort to break it. Vernon made a call to the Dupri's kick-ass publicist and announced that the man would keep Dani's marriage out of the press. Nicole felt it was too late, since the wedding photo was on social media and had already scored 10,000 hits. Dani rolled her suitcase into her house, wondering to the equally hungover Andre if the room was spinning. Andre didn't answer her question about needing Alcoholics Anonymous, instead wanting to collapse on her couch. She objected, pondering what they were going to do about the fact that they were married. Dani moved to call her lawyer to invalidate their union before the press, or her family, found out about it. Andre agreed to keep quiet, sharing Dani's contention that the family didn't need any more chaos. "Could you not refer to my sister as Aunt Nicole until after our marriage is annulled?" Dani winced. She knew the media wouldn't care if there was no blood relation between them. They would hype it anyway. After Dani also anguished over what Chelsea and Naomi would have to say, Andre intuited that Dani was more concerned about Bill's reaction. Dani wouldn't deny it, but turned things around on Andre, curious how Andre would handle it when Ashley clued into their nuptials. As Dani and Andre went over how real they could be with each other, they each noted that being married to each other wasn't actually so bad. However, when Nicole summoned Andre without giving him a reason why, Dani worried that her sister might have been altered to their ceremony. Andre reckoned the visit would have something to do with Ted. "Go before I marry you again," Dani cracked. "Hi, Auntie," Andre greeted Nicole as he walked into the Dupri mansion. "Don't you mean sister-in-law?" the psychiatrist corrected. Anita showed him her doubles post. Andre was upset that Anita hadn't gotten their permission to post a photo of him and Dani, let alone take one, which confused Vernon. The patriarch frowned that Andre should be more bothered by the fact that he had married his daughter while drunk. Anita and Nicole were both disappointed in Andre, having expected better from him. Andre insisted that he cared about Dani, that there had been no coercion, and that neither he nor his new wife owed anyone an explanation. The photographer said that the wedding was on him, but Nicole felt that Andre was covering for Dani and her legendary spontaneity. The soon-to-be ex-Mrs. Richardson boiled that Dani wasn't the only family member going through something, and that they would all appreciate not being further pulled into Dani's drama. Andre expressed his regret and tried to soothe the Dupris by letting them know that Dani was working on an annulment. Once Andre left, Vernon felt that Dani's immediate action to invalidate her marriage showed growth, but Nicole was sure there would always be a new Dani crisis over the horizon. Nicole had to admit it bothered her that Andre had just shown more loyalty to Dani than Ted had shown to her. Haley called Caroline to inform her she was working from home, with Bill walking in as she mentioned how he'd said it wasn't true about Joey and Vanessa. Bill commented that Haley hadn't liked it when she had been the subject of gossip, but Haley remembered that there had been truth in the rumors about their relationship. The lawyer lied that Vanessa and Joey weren't involved, adding that she and Doug were solid as far as he knew. After Haley took note of Dani's days-long silence, but assumed it was the calm before another storm, Bill was certain that Dani had heard him loud and clear about there being no chance for a reunion between them. Haley hoped that meant Dani would find a relationship of her own. Bill didn't put stock in Dani moving on in the immediate future. "Because you're just so hard to get over?" Haley sassed. Bill told Haley that his marriage to Dani had been over long before he had served her with divorce papers. He had most assuredly loved her for a time, but Dani's emotional connection to him had always been intense. The Hamiltons sparred over Mars/Venus approaches to breakups and compartmentalizing. Haley couldn't dispute it when Bill predicted that Dani may never be completely over him. As Bill packed up his briefcase in preparation to head to the office, Haley grabbed her phone and read a text from Caroline, which included a link to the post about Dani marrying Andre. Showing it to Bill, Haley said that Dani had been able to move on a lot quicker than he had theorized. Bill was annoyed when Haley cheered, "You go, Dani!" Haley said there was no need for her to be as petty as Dani had been, and took Bill to task when he referred to Dani as family. To her mind, Dani was Bill's former family and Andre's current one. When Bill continued to fret, Haley became animated and called his response a red flag. "You mean your two grown-ass daughters?" she huffed, as Bill claimed he was worried about how Chelsea and Naomi would cope with the development. Haley relented regarding Chelsea, acknowledging that her stepdaughter was still processing the trauma of her kidnapping, though Haley didn't think the news would impede her recovery. Bill fumed that Dani needing to be the center of attention threatened to upend the normalcy Chelsea was starting to feel again, and that the news coverage was going to be hellacious. Haley wanted to be sure that was the only reason for Bill's upset, but he was tired of continually having to reassure Haley of his devotion. Bill left for the office without his briefcase. "You better not compartmentalize me," Haley seethed to herself. Dani realized the Anita impersonator had exposed her and Andre, and got on the phone to her lawyer in an attempt to contain it while the annulment was being processed. Bill stormed in, asking, "Who was that? TMZ looking for a quote?" Dani frowned when Bill said she had lost her mind by marrying a man half her age. After Dani ordered Bill to leave, Bill put the Vegas photo in her face. Dani smirked about its lighting and composition, then smoldered that her days of explaining herself to her ex were over. Haley had to deal with Bill now, and Dani advised him to run home because his child bride was probably waiting for him to slice bananas into her frosted flakes. Bill railed at the hypocrisy of Dani mocking Haley's age, given Andre's, commanding Dani to grow up and start thinking about how her actions affected their daughters. She needed to have the marriage invalidated before Naomi and Chelsea found out about it. Score. Dani grinned to herself after Bill left, steaming. Bill returned to Haley to retrieve his briefcase, but she was extremely displeased that he hadn't remembered it on his way to the office. He had remembered it after leaving Dani's. Meanwhile, Andre went back to Dani's and was puzzled to see her reacting so calmly to his news that her parents and sister were aware of their marriage. "What's done is done," Dani said, circumspect. Andre conveyed how he had stood up for her and apprised her relatives that their union was being terminated. Dani smiled. "How would you feel about staying married a little longer?" she asked Andre mischievously. At the police precinct, Marcel overheard Jacob leaving the latest of several messages for Vanessa, whom he was anxious to talk to. Malone speculated on how the wife would take the news. Jacob found the question insensitive and predicted that Vanessa's world was about to fall apart. In Puerto Rico, Vanessa moaned an orgasm, prompting Joey to deduce that she had enjoyed their latest round of lovemaking. Joey wanted to have another go. Vanessa paused just long enough to check her phone for messages. She saw the string of notifications from Jacob and called him, afraid something had happened to one of the twins. As Joey watched, Jacob sadly advised her that Doug had been killed in a car accident. Vanessa was struck dumb as Jacob relayed how Doug had apparently been driving under the influence and had perished in a car fire after he'd gone off the road into a ravine. Mrs. McBride was stoically glad to hear that Doug hadn't suffered and agreed to return to D.C. as soon as Jacob asked her to come to the station to make a positive ID. Joey seemed troubled as Vanessa cried to him that her husband was dead. Joey told the nearly hyperventilating Vanessa that the police wouldn't have given her such news if it wasn't based in fact. "Doug died thinking I was mad at him," Vanessa sobbed, recalling their final conversation. Joey was positive that Doug loved his wife until the end, but Vanessa railed that Doug hadn't thought about her or their children by driving drunk, and she needed to call them. Vanessa was sickened that Doug had burned to death in a fire, causing Joey to ask what else she had learned from Jacob. Vanessa couldn't answer. Vanessa was inconsolable as Joey swore that she and her kids would come out of the tragedy intact. She screamed that she knew Joey, and everyone else thought that she was a terrible wife, and she could hardly argue the fact since she'd been having sex with another man while her husband was lying dead in a ditch. "What kind of person does that make me, Joey?" Vanessa asked, glassy-eyed. Joey held Vanessa not responsible for Doug getting intoxicated and driving when he shouldn't have been. His death had been an accident. "Did you have a hand in this, Joey?" Vanessa put to the casino owner, who replied that while he'd had no respect for Doug, that didn't mean he wanted Doug dead. Vanessa stiffly recognized that Joey had been pushing Doug's buttons, but Joey stated that hurting Doug would mean hurting Vanessa, which he added he would never do. Armstrong affirmed that he, unequivocally, had had nothing to do with Doug's demise. Vanessa apologized for her suspicion, looking to hindsight to determine if pushing Doug into recovery for his addictions would have spared him his life. Joey didn't think that what-ifs would help the widow, especially with her having to face telling Donnell and Deanna that their father was gone. Armstrong recommended that Vanessa take a hot shower while he packed for the return trip home. Vanessa quietly thanked Joey for taking care of her and remarked that she couldn't get through the adversity without him. Marcel told Jacob that breaking news of death never got easier, but was indifferent about the McBrides' so-called marriage. "Karma's a bitch," Marcel decided, as he and Jacob discussed the whispers about Vanessa cheating on Doug. The detective also felt that Doug had sealed his own fate by getting behind the wheel drunk. As Jacob finished up his report, he couldn't rationalize why the drunken Doug had taken his car in the middle of the night instead of calling a rideshare service. "Because drunk makes you stupid," Marcel scoffed. "Doug was a lush," Marcel said, calling the man's case a simple DUI. Jacob, however, felt something was off. After Jacob was called away to a crime scene, Marcel phoned Joey and reported that everything had gone as planned. Doug's death would be viewed as an accident by everyone. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.